Hello, baby. Snip, snap. That's actually the sound of my
pop.
camera. It's a camera thing. It's a camera thing.
Okay, so it's a camera. The kids. You want to know what noise I think a camera makes?
What?
Shutter.
It's
It makes the sound. Yeah, it makes the sound of the thing that it is.
You can't make automatopoeias out of already existing words.
Yeah, you can. That's what onomatopoeias
My car
are.
goes car.
I mean, are you saying that you don't hear a car? It does go car. That's what noise a car makes when it starts up, especially. And then the wheels, if you listen really closely, they're going wheel like on the road.
Is it multiple or is it as it's moving? It goes wheel as long as the trip it takes.
As long it's one long wheel.
Okay,
but I think cars should have one long wheel. By the way, that's my design for a car.
How long?
About a mile.
But that would kind of mean like technically it's like you get into your car and you're already there, kind of.
Yeah, you just walk from the back of your car to the front of your car.
That would street parking
like
would be hell.
Wait,
this is Elon Musk's latest idea. It's going to make a Tesla that's a mile long. It can only fit one person still somehow.
I mean, that's what who should go in the those like the Tesla Hyperloop things. Remember that like viral video from like 2 months ago where like a guy's like stuck in traffic in that like tube of death?
Well, there's a new one. There's a new Hyperloop that he's building, and I don't know. Maybe this was like a gag because it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I don't want to give too much benefit of the doubt to Elon, but this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Again, it's the Hyperloop, except it's there's not 2 tracks, so you can literally only do one car at a time. And if someone wants to go the other direction, they have to wait for that car to come out, and then they could go the other direction.
That sounds like it can't be real.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, why would anyone sign off on this as like a public transit thing?
Yeah, I never got
that's not as practical as just like driving on the road. Like it's not going to save any time.
I never got the whole Hyperloop thing because it's like just have a fucking train.
It could fit more people.
Just build a train.
This episode's about Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter. We're getting the big tech news of the week. Just kidding. We don't know what technology is, except for cameras.
That's right.
Shutter.
That's right.
Shutter.
That is a good twice.
Hey, someone write that down. I guess we're gonna put that. That's our new.
There should be like
joke.
a camera based Pokemon named Shutter.
Yeah, I mean, what about Shutterfree?
That could be his name.
I mean, technically, it's already Butterfree. Butterfree. Yeah. Hey, I mean, my favorite.
That was a great Butterfree impression.
Thank you.
Butterfree.
Yeah.
I'm Pikachu.
Dang it, Bobby! I'm Pikachu. You know what's my favorite game? Pokemon Snapshot. XXX.
I think it's just called Pokemon Snap.
I mean, not the one I play.
Not the one you think.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta check out the one with the Gardevoir. Look up, guys. If you want, look up Pokemon.
Everyone,
Snap
look up
XXX.
Pokemon Rule 34 if you want.
Well, I mean, specifically, you got to look at the Newgrounds video of that, which is fun animation. It's really, really good.
Anyway, have we introduced ourselves?
No, we haven't yet. I'm Ethan M. Wong.
I'm Spencer DSO.
And I'm MJ.
We're going
and
crazy
we
about
are
this episode.
we are your delightful and loving menswear podcast hosts.
That's right. We're building that parasocial relationship.
That's right. Don't you guys love us?
We are your friends.
Yeah. Plur life. Yeah. Should we watch that movie for the podcast?
We should, because that's like our life.
We're ravers.
Yeah, we are ravers.
Yeah. Why do they call you that? Never mind.
Okay.
One letter off. This is a menswear podcast where we talk about clothing and the life around it. Actually, that's not even the tagline. It's the menswear podcast.
Talk about the life around clothing.
I kind of gave it like a like Scott Aukerman Comedy Bang Bang thing where like it's
Mhm.
like a podcast where we talk to interesting people. And I can't believe I forgot my own thing that we coined like episode 2 or whatever.
Yeah, it's been there for a while.
You need
Yeah,
to
it's
get it
in there.
monogrammed somewhere so you can remember.
Yeah.
Write it
No
on the back of your
stuffiness.
hand anytime
Yeah.
we record, and then you can be like, wait a
Monogram your
minute.
hand.
Hold on a minute. Eggs, milk. Oh wait, this is my grocery list. And anyway, guys, welcome. I hope you've enjoying our podcast. Previous episode with Marco.
Yeah, that was a
little
great
reference
episode.
or a callback or just stating the history.
Yeah, not to toot our own horn, but you should listen to that.
Yeah, it's a good one, and there are other episodes as well. If this is your first time, I'm sorry, but you're stuck with us, so keep
For
listening.
life.
But today we're going to be talking about the Fit Pic.
Mhm.
This is something that's we've talked about. I mean, everything we talk about in Discord. I've said this whole spiel every time we talk about a topic because this is why you guys should be in the Patreon Discord. I'm plugging it early because this is literally how we come up with ideas for the podcast. We discuss something, we go, hey, we haven't really thought about this or put our words to paper or to the audio forms.
Our voice to the ones and zeros.
That's right. And the Fit Pic is something that we haven't really talked about. We've talked about menswear photography kind of a couple of years ago, actually, at this point now. It's back when I was still working at Ascot Chang. We talked a little bit about, how menswear photography has changed over the years, and it kind of hints at the Fit Pic, but this is going to be specifically about taking Fit Pics and how we feel about them and how we feel about posting them.
Yeah.
Because we are social media beasts. We love talking. We love posting. And
we're scoundrels.
We're scruffy looking nerf herders.
We should be like the Beast, the trivia guy. Where like people post
Just
fits
mean.
and it's like, I actually knew that already.
And just be British.
Yeah.
I actually knew that already. I'm the Beast. I'm making him sound like Richard Ayoade. Hey guys, I'm the Beast. I love trivia.
You should play him in like a movie.
Richard Ayoade should play the Beast.
Yeah, I think so. And like
just
a movie
a total
life.
Also like a different they look different. Like it's not even.
I mean, it's like when Michael Fassbender played Steve Jobs. They don't really.
It's ability over appearance.
Yeah, exactly. I think he would be great at playing the Beast. Everyone watched that show. What's it called?
The Chase.
The Chase. They got the professor on there.
Ken the professor.
Yeah.
What's his last name? Ken Jennings.
What would your nickname be if you were on that show?
Ethan the lover.
Whoa. I think I'd be Spencer the crazy murderer.
And they can't arrest you because you already told them. Like
I told. Once you confess to a crime, you can't be arrested for it. That's the law.
And MJ, what's yours?
MJ, the stupid head. I don't know any of
Which
it.
is funny because you'll have jurisdiction. That's a callback to something that wasn't discussed on the podcast. Anyway, the Fit Pic. This is kind of comes from the conversation about like social media because when we put this in our Discord, there's a lot of ideas on it. This idea that social media gives you a lot of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Do people feel compelled to post fit pics all the time? Is it necessary to post a fit pic in order to have an opinion about menswear?
I think a lot of people in the menswear community. Well, a lot of people outside of like the menswear / fashion scene think fit pics are weird. I know I've heard like when throwing fits, when they appeared on like non-menswear podcasts that I listened to, they were talking about fit pics, and one of the hosts was very confused about them,
which is crazy.
But I also think that there is a lot of people in the menswear community who like. Well, like a lot of people just think of fit pics as kind of like masturbatory. Like you might as well be posting a photo of you jacking your little dick off on your Instagram instead of a fit pic.
I wonder if the people who hate fit pics are like secret like evangelical puritanical people. They're like, oh,
because they hate jerking off.
I can't do it. I remember, I was listening to a podcast, kind of semi-related, but it was good Christian fun, and they were saying how having like a soloist or or a good musician at church is kind of bad because sometimes people be like, oh, they're just being self-indulgent. There's like a thing like Protestants can't be boastful, like because that's kind of like a sin of like, I don't know, self gluttony. I don't know what the hell the 7 sins are.
And like narcissism or something like
Narcissism
that.
and everything. So I can kind of see what they're talking about, but it's kind of crazy because I feel like everything can kind of be a fit pick, and maybe this is just like my menswear Abed brain where like everything is everything all at once. But
Still need to watch.
I think maybe it's because like we've grown up with like editorials and and also the fact that Spencer and I have like grown up like looking at images of people
Yeah.
for like 20 years where everything is kind of becomes inspo, so everything is technically a fit pick of some sort.
And I mean, you do see like, people like to say that like, or pretend that fit pics are like a completely new thing or like an only like on the internet thing. But if you look through old photos, like you'll see like you'll see like someone posted this in our Discord, I think, like a vacation photo from the 30s that is clearly like a fit pic because he's like front and center. He's like, you don't really see much of the background. He was just a guy who just thought his fit looked cool and wanted to document it.
Yeah, he's not a. I remember the fit pic you're talking about. I found it actually.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's funny because like some guy like found like a collection of old images in some other European menswear group, and he posted them, and it's like, film isn't cheap. I mean back then if you wanted the picture at all, you still have to pay for it, pay for it to get developed. But it's like he clearly thought his outfit was so good that he wasted, or not wasted, but he used a frame of film, unlike his like old Brownie camera, which had like eight shots to a roll or whatever, and used it on this shot of him wearing a DB espadrilles and a runaway collar shirt on his like balcony. The background you can see like there's like a building there, but like there's like nothing there. It's not even like a beach. It's not even a scenic view. It's like a building.
He took it on his balcony, which is where I take fit pics.
There you go. See,
yeah.
And so, I mean, to us, and to I guess like mentioned to a lot of fashion people, fit pics are kind of so common. I would say my mom would take fit pics. Like she just looked like, I think it just comes down to like people think they look nice and they like it enough to take a photo of it.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of the bare minimum.
Even if like non-fashion people don't really get like the concept of like doing like a daily fit pic, and I mean I don't even do like a daily fit pic, but
yeah,
I mean you still like people still like fucking take like random like mirror selfies, even if they're not necessarily like as into fashion as we are. If you look through your Instagram, you're gonna see like complete normos still taking like random like bathroom mirror selfies when they think they look nice. And
yeah, I mean,
not much of a difference here.
I mean, like our friend group, which has a variety of different people, just like in our episode talk about standing out. Like we'll occasionally get like pictures of our friends going like, "Oh, hey, heading off to church today. Liked my outfit," just like a mirror selfie. Like that would technically count in my eyes. Like, and that's like super common to me. But like, yeah, we've always been doing this. I mean, it kind of is important, and we'll get into like the kind of nuances of this in a second. But like, if you're participating in a fashion as a hobby, you clearly have to take a photo of it to share it somewhere. Obviously, you can just wear it out, but like, say like, you make. I mean, pictures of what the hobby is are so important. Like you build a Lego. And yeah, you could just look at it, but like, oh, I want to share this. I'm going to take a photo of my Lego and I'm going to post it on Facebook,
Or I mean, it's like if you were an author, I mean, maybe this is like getting a little bold, but this is like if you were an author, this taking a fit pic and sharing it online is the equivalent of like going into like an author's like Facebook group or forum or something and being like, hey, check out my short story. Or if you're a painter or like an illustrator and sharing your illustrations online. Because I mean, yeah, if you consider fashion an art form, or like just a visual, like a visual art form, then in order to like share your perspective, your own like unique take, you have to have some evidence of it. You have to have some like visual evidence of it.
I agree, because it's kind of like, I think a lot of people might say, yeah, it is like masturbatory in a sense, but like people do this like all the time. Like, and people might argue that fashion isn't a like creative endeavor. And like, yeah, I guess, especially for menswear, like we're not really exactly redesigning the wheel here. Like we're wearing suits and everything, but it's like following a recipe and like or like baking cookies. Like, you could buy like the fucking like pre-made dough, but like maybe the cookies just look really nice and you're like, I want to share this with my friends. Look at these cookies I just made. You know, I feel like that's not a big deal. So fashion is kind of the same way, where
Mm-hmm.
it's just so easy. And so I think it's kind of fun to talk about like our first fit picks or our history to taking it. Um, like we talked about in the standing out episode, my friends have always been like taking photos, like in general, you know,
Yeah.
like my friends always had like a camera. My mom is like me, and even before social media, she'd be like, "Oh, I want this picture of me because I look nice. My dress looks nice today." You know, it's like when people take a photo at dinner or like with the sign of the restaurant, like yeah, if you really wanted the sign of the restaurant, you would just take a picture of the sign. No, you
Mm-hmm.
think you look good, you want to take a picture of you. So like I've always kind of been around that where like yeah, it's nice to kind of feel good in your own skin. And in college, I think I mentioned this in the photography episode, but there were two guys that were super formative to me. There was John and Tim. They're both photographers. We kind of became friends in college because we were photographers. We both had our cameras all the time. And John was such an interesting case where he's been such a creative guy. The thing is he's not that big on social media, but he loved taking photos of himself to the point where like it's almost fun because he would like edit them in like a creative way. Like he'd be like, "Oh, here's him like really small next to like a giant fork." You know, like he'll take a macro shot of a fork and like juxtapose himself onto it. You know, or he'll take a picture in his room and then like cut out everything so it looks like his room is like an all white infinity room or something. So like being around him, he was like the guy who taught me like, "Oh, it's kind of fun, like a fun exercise to take a photo of yourself, and it can be easy, especially if you know you're a photographer and you know like what makes a good photo, what you look like, and how to do the settings." The other side was Tim telling me that I can't just take a shitty phone camera, and Tim was just being a little snob about it. But it was like basically his point was, if you want people to take you seriously, like why not produce the best quality that you can come up with, right? Like, and that is something that has always stuck with me. Where like, yeah, I could get away with using my old Android phone from 2012, but you wouldn't be able to see all the details, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's better to do like a DSLR camera. And so all
I
of
mean, I
that over the years has got me like really comfortable with taking fit pics. It's so easy. It's fun. It's not that it's easy in the sense that it's natural, not that it's quick. Like still taking a photo, being able to edit it still takes time, but it's still something that I don't feel out of place for. But how about you guys?
well, really quick, I was curious what you think the difference. But so you're talking about how you mostly take fit pics with a DSLR, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering what you think the difference is. Like, what do you consider a fit pic, and what do you consider like a fashion portrait or something, or like self
Ooh,
portrait? Is
man,
there a
gotcha.
difference between those, or is every self portrait also a fit pic?
So for me, I think portraiture for me is there has a lot of work behind it. This is
Mm-hmm.
why we talked more about that in like the fashion photography episode. Where like I obviously love natural lighting. I like dark kind of natural vignettes. Um, Obviously my fit pics kind of take after that, but I'm kind of limited to where I am. So for example, most of my fit pics are taken at home,
Mm-hmm.
and my house is not a architecturally sexy place. Like there's carpet on the inside. You guys have seen it, and
Yeah.
people who follow me have seen it. It's like there's some parts that look really nice when the lighting is right, but like obviously like, there's a bed in the corner, or like there's like stuff on the ground or whatever. So like I'm trying to mimic portraiture with my fit pick, but the
Mm-hmm.
fit pick is definitely a little bit more like snap it and go kind of a thing. I think there's a lot to say with like how you pose it as well. Like to me, portraiture has a bit more of like drama to it, opposed to a fit pick, which is more static. And again, I like to have a little bit of main character syndrome, so like I trying to be a model, and I think you guys do it in spades as well. And people that we just know kind of like lean into the drama of it. So like a fit pick can kind of become a portrait.
Mm-hmm.
But again, for me, portraiture feels more like editorial, where like there's an external purpose to this, where there's like it's more for something else. Like I would say that like the recent Drake's editorial that in the Catskills that Jason is in, that feels more like that's I wouldn't say that they're posed, but they're more editorial because
Mm-hmm.
the purpose there is to be used in a lookbook to sell clothes. But my fit pick isn't used for that, even though it can mimic editorial. And maybe we'll get into that later with like the stylization, the style stylized
Stylization.
stylization. Thank you, of like fit picks. But I feel like it's more about intent than it is about the creative,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
That makes
Um,
sense.
but yeah, how about you guys? What's your guys' history with well, I guess before that, I would say because of how easy it was good for me to get into vintage and then start taking fit pics because it was just, I want to show off this cool outfit. Um, and early on, I used my friends to take all my outfit pictures, and they were really nice. And I'm sure it was really awkward, but the good thing is that I started young, so now everyone is all used to it. But
Mm-hmm.
then today, I take it with my tripod, uh, and my phone app, which connects to it, so I don't have to like focus on nothing and then like trial and error it. Um, and now it just takes like 15 minutes. It's good for me to use it because it's fun. I think it's a lot of fun. But what about you guys? Tell me about your experience with FitPix.
When I first started getting into like dressing,
Hmm.
I would do a lot of chest shots, and I think if you scroll back on my don't do
I
this,
remember
please.
that.
If you scroll back on my Instagram far enough, you'll see a bunch of chest shots from like high school. Um, I might
Did
I might need to like clear that out some at some
just
point. I'll
archive
put
them. Yeah.
yeah, like archive all the old fit photos,
I'm
but
curious. Well, before you go on from that, did you start out by doing chest shots?
yeah, because I didn't have a tripod. I didn't really have a good mirror for I could do like waist up, but I
Selfies.
didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't. I never had a full body mirror that I could. Well, I had full body mirrors, but they weren't like really good for fit pics. Like
Yeah.
in high school, the house I was living in, I had a full body mirror in my closet, but like I had to like when you got close enough with it with the camera, you couldn't really see the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I didn't have access to a full body mirror, so I would just do the chest shots a lot because I was not about to ask someone else to take my fit pics. I didn't want to do that because I don't know. I just didn't want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it makes a difference whether you're around people who are photographers. Like I
Hmm.
didn't, to be clear, I never had like photographer friends, but my friends took a lot of pictures. They just
Yeah,
like were
because
like fun.
I mean, I'll say that I have asked people to get like photos of me, not necessarily fit pics, but like something that I'm like, okay, we'll get a
Oh,
photo of me
LinkedIn
here.
or something,
Well,
or
no, not
yeah.
that, but like if I'm hanging out with people and I'm like, oh, get a photo of me over here, and I'm like, they don't like understand like I'll get like really weird framed photos or it's like tilted or like they'll cut off like my shoes or something, and it's like I'm not gonna say it's like actually could you get it, but make sure my shoes are in the picture like so it is tough if you have people if you're trying to ask someone who doesn't really understand the purpose of a fit pic to
I
take your
mean, to
photo.
be
It's
fair,
gonna be
you
hard.
guys were kind of used to be like that for me. Like I had to like
Hmm.
kind of teach you guys photography a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Um, what about you, MJ?
Well, like, since I'm like the most recent, I don't know what you'd say, subscriber to our our menswear like mentality or whatever. Yeah, I also didn't have. I was like the last one of our friend group to like get a smartphone too, because there's no way I was taking, you know, selfies with my dumb phone, my
Hmm.
like little like cheap Samsung phone. Um, but when I started caring about how I dressed and stuff like that, the mirrors at Uniqlo are your best friends because I mean they're
I had
made.
the same thing too when I was
Yeah.
at South Coast Plaza. Not to, I mean, I guess not really to previously dox myself. When I used to work at Banana Republic, I would take some outfit pictures there.
I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
same thing when I worked at J. Crew slash Men's
I mean
Warehouse.
that's literally the purpose of the mirrors, anyways, to like
Yeah, you have to check out your fit. Yeah,
show
I
everything.
get you.
So it's like it's like an easy like one and done sort of deal. And then I put in the notes here somewhere. Uh, Being Ethan's friend is like the highest privilege when it comes to photos, um, because yeah, like 90% of the fit pics I post on my Instagram are taken by Ethan,
But
anyways.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and not just fit pics, like just any kind of picture that you need of yourself
yes, yeah,
is probably taken
not
by me.
limited to fit pics, but just like hanging out too, um, which I think we'll get into also
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
contextually, uh, how our photos fit in with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole thing with fit pics is that it's always got to be like fun. And one of the things for me that early on that kind of ruined me was because I was a photographer. Like I learned how to get into, to take a nice photo,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like at that point when I was already taking photos of myself with vintage, wearing or with a DSLR, it's like, why would I take a phone camera now? Like, what's like,
Hmm.
I don't see the big deal with this. I'm already always going to edit. I'm always taking photos. It just kind of made sense, to, to just use my actual DSLR camera for everything. um and maybe that's what other people don't understand. Like I think people just aren't photographers, or people aren't used to taking DSLR photos, so people assume it's a lot of more work than it is.
Hmm.
um but that's not the case. um
I think other people seem to like people that take fit pics probably, I don't want to like bash out anybody, but like kind of embellish how hard it is to take or how much work goes into taking their own pictures when it's not. I feel
yeah.
like, um, but that's I don't know. That's like
Oh
a
well, hey, we'll
separate
get
thing
into
probably.
that. Maybe we'll get into
Yeah.
our setups later.
Yeah.
But I think one thing here is that people, we'll just kind of get out of the gate here. People feel like you get dressed up for the fit pick. I feel like because of how insular it can be, and how, like Spencer said early on, right? Like people, there are people out there who just don't understand fit pics, which I've never met people like that. I feel like everyone has done a fit pic at some point, like to show off something, so they get that
Mm-hmm.
aspect about it. But I guess people assume like, oh, I have to do this if I'm into fashion, and so it becomes a little bit of a chore,
Yeah, it
right?
becomes like an obligation rather than something you just want to do.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, I'm reading this. I forgot to put this in the notes, but I found this old, not really old, it's from last year. It's an
So
article
old.
by, yeah, by Jacob Gallagher, from the Wall Street Journal, saying like the rise of the fit pic, basically. And it's kind of like they kind of position it as like a pandemic thing, which maybe happened. We're like, okay, well, I'm not going out. What am I proud of? My outfits. I might as well take a picture of this. I can kind of see that, but it's still kind of crazy. Like I think it's fun. Like all these people who maybe our generation or younger kind of understand like how easy it is compared to people before. Where like I would say it's not even just a fit pick thing. I think a lot of people feel beholden to social media. Like you feel like this need to
Hmm.
like I remember like being younger. Like, oh, I have to tweet every day, or I have to like post on Tumblr every day. One of our close friends, I'm not going to say his name, but he did say like, oh, whenever he's gone on a weekend, he would have to like he
Cue
would set
stuff.
his yeah, he would cue stuff on Tumblr so
Hmm.
people would know that he's active. And even back then I was like, that's fucking crazy. Like I never understand like this obligation to social media. I- which sounds odd to some people because I post every day, but it's because I like posting. Like
Hmm.
it's not that big a deal for me to like to do what takes like 2 seconds, like to like something. Or maybe I just think my life is interesting enough to document, just like how it is to post a tweet or something. um but that's kind of the theme here, where like fit pics should be like additive to your life and more like self documentation, or a documentarian, because you enjoy it. It's like a diary, where like a diary can sound like it's a big deal to write every day, but there are people who generally like to recap and like debrief. It's like a good form of like therapy. I'm not to say that fit pics are therapy, but it's something that
I
people
think they are
sometimes in
therapy. Men
it's
will
like
literally take fit pics instead of going to therapy.
that's got to be a throwing fits thing. That's got to be
Yeah.
like a meme.
If
But like
not, we'll
there's,
make it right now. I mean, we just
yeah.
did audioly, orally.
Whoa, pause.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
don't
I'll
even.
pause.
You lost me there.
But yeah, I mean, it's like it's this weird idea that like fit pics somehow feel beholden. Like, did that ever happen to you guys? Like that you felt like, oh, I gotta take a fit pic every day.
Nah. I mean, I start. I didn't.
Nice.
Yeah. I
Not
mean, I
really.
don't. I mean, it's like the same thing that we've talked about with like social media, where
Yeah.
um, I can't really get too like stressed out about it because I just don't really care about it that much.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's the same thing with fit pics. For now, I'm starting to take them again because before I also didn't have a very good setup at my old house because the my mirror the light was always like I was always backlit, and then also if I didn't some listen, I'm gonna admit something. Some not
Okay.
every
Admit it.
I don't make my bed every day. Sometimes my room is looks a little messy, and I don't want to take photos of a messy room. So now I've found an ideal solution, which is a tripod outside in a place where I don't have to like clean up. Well, I cleaned it up, but I don't have to. I don't
I
have to
mean,
make a bed outside.
like technically, MJ, you've got a great courtyard you could take fit pics in. Like
Yeah, I know.
it's one of those things. But I do think that there's something there about like when you find like the right like secret sauce or formula to get
Mm-hmm.
a fit pic, it becomes so easy. You
Yeah,
know?
when you make it when it's now it's as easy for me as like I have my tripod just like leaning against the wall like right next to where I set it up. So I just put what's going to get even easier is right now I'm doing the 10-second timer thing. I just need to get one of those little buttons, the Bluetooth things. Man, that's going to change my life.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. But so to go on about the whole obligation thing, like, did you ever feel that way like early on? Like I feel like this is something that happens to guys who, get into menswear
I mean,
and
I
they
was
feel like,
proud.
oh, I gotta participate.
Yeah, I think I
Hmm.
was probably doing that with like vintage Facebook groups, like being like, "Oh,
Ah, yep.
I gotta make sure all the like 40-year-olds in here think I'm cool or something."
I'm just
But
like
yeah.
you.
I think the fun thing there is, unlike you, Spencer, I couldn't wear vintage every day,
Mhm.
or at least because you had like free dress for school, right, for high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I remember we said this before, but I had a uniform, and then I went to college, and then so the only time I could really dress up and wear vintage was on Saturdays for church, and it was funny because people kind of caught on to how much I'd post because um or the cadence of how I posted, so it would always be on Saturday, or like Sunday morning because after I edit the photos,
Mhm.
and it was always in the same spot. It was always in this what do you call it, this like strip mall in downtown LA, where I would just take photos. And even back then, like I never felt this need to like take a fit pic in like a spot. Like none of this was like, oh, I gotta go here to take my fit pic because I
Hmm.
have to be. It's gotta feel natural, right? And so if in that strip mall was a place that I've eaten, dude, we should go there sometime. We gotta see how it is after all these years. But it's like this old, it's like this like Mexican donut shop, or like I think later on they became Vietnamese owned. Like I would always eat a patty melt there with my friends, and then while we were chilling, I'd be like, "Oh, let's take some pictures outside," and we would all take pictures. Like it wasn't just me, and so, but I would post the pictures I would take there of my vintage outfits, and then the 40-year-old vintage men's guys like, "Oh man, there's Ethan again over there. Where's the security guard?" Because there was a security guard out there who would sit all the way in the background, like just watching over the parking lot, and people would think that's really funny. But I mean, even there, that was like an additive experience. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta do this. I liked it. It was something that we all enjoyed. There's
Yeah.
a lot, like, I mean, not all of them. This is before the blog. This is like 3 years before the blog even started. But I still have a lot of photos of like, yeah, there's pictures of me doing fit pics, and then there's like Vincent, I don't know, making a fake penis out of his hand or something in the background for a lot of them. And it was a lot of fun, and it was great to kind of document because you want to see, you want to look at your fit and kind of critique it. Like I think we're always not like in a way that we're self-hating, but we always want to make a good fit. I think we always
Yeah.
want to make something that we're proud of. And even back then, even if the fits were bad, we still liked them back then. Like we can't blame us
Um and I
for
mean,
it.
as someone said in the Discord, that another bonus, another plus of Fit Pics
Bubba
are it gives you just
bonus.
kind of like a more, I don't know, like a different, more objective angle to like judge your outfit. Like
Hmm.
Yeah,
someone
absolutely.
pointed this out. Like I've definitely noticed like I've like changed pants or something after I've taken a fit pic because I'm like, oh, these
Hmm.
are fit kind of weird or something, or like these kind the proportionally it doesn't work with my jacket, which I didn't notice in the mirror, but when you see a fit pic, which is obviously shot from a different perspective than you looking in a mirror, unless
Yeah.
you're taking a mirror shot, I guess. But um, in every other case, you're gonna get a different view.
Absolutely. I mean, because it's like sometimes fit pics can even be more natural than the mirror shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've noticed this too. With some like I like my pants look really nice in the mirror, but like when I'm actually standing out in the fit pic, like my posture might change or whatever. The
Yeah.
angle's a little bit different, so it's interesting. Um, that's like it's kind of fun to like to be able to look at yourself like that, and we'll get into like how others will perceive it later on with like what it looks like when we post the fit pic and where we do it. But on there, it's like kind of related to that note. It is interesting that we have to post it somewhere though, because it's like there's always like it's a hobby, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what's kind of like the big issue with people's attitude toward fit pics are, is that when you're if you're in a woodworking subreddit, you take a photo of the chair you made, you know, or when you write a song and you're in a, musicians Facebook group, you will share that song in the group and be like, hey guys, what do you think? Also, or alternatively, not what do you think? I like this. Here it is. It's not
Hmm.
always about asking for critiques or anything like that. And so, I mean, fit pics were kind of fun to kind of do, and I mean that's kind of how it builds community. It kind of builds a name for yourself
Yeah.
in the sense of like, oh, I like this thing. It's not even about like, I don't think I posted fit pics in order to be like, oh, hey, I'm gonna be the next. I'm gonna be like Bruce Boyer and write about menswear forever. It was like I
Hmm.
just want to post my outfit because I really liked it. You know.
And this
Um,
is this is, I mean, you said it earlier, but yeah, this is how you kind of, I don't know, like share your ideas, share your perspective, like participate in the
Hmm.
menswear community.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, because it's like you don't have the same exact clothes as everyone else, too, right?
Yeah.
It's like you might be wearing a navy jacket and gray pants, but it's the navy jacket you found here, which maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and with vintage, right? There's always going to be size issues. Like sometimes you buy jackets a little too short, but you bought it because it's like who knows where you're going to find it again,
Yeah.
maybe you're era mixing here because at the time, Spencer and I didn't have access to like all 30s stuff, or like maybe we only found vintage swing tights from the 50s, but we liked the 30s, so we'd wear it with like a 30s suit or something like that. So it's kind of fun to like share that perspective. But it's the other part of it too is like I think FitPics have become kind of a currency in any kind of
Okay. They're cryptocurrency.
yeah, they're crypto. I'm gonna have an NFT of this button pocket harmony.
Dude, when are we
Oh
gonna make
no.
style direction NFTs, which are just all of our fit pics? So you could own,
You could
you could.
own the picture of me wearing the Palm Beach jacket and navy trousers.
We're gonna. This is a great time to get into crypto, by the way.
Yeah.
The day that we're recording this is the best time to get in.
Yeah, if you keep up, or not, you don't even have to keep up if you see like those crypto tweets on
Have
Twitter
you
right
guys
now.
seen the like the chart of like one of I like Luna or whatever, where
Hmm.
it's flatlining?
It's
It's
just
like hit
tanked. Yeah,
$0 and
it's
zero
tanked so
cents.
hard.
That's
Man,
crazy. Um but yeah, I mean like the necessary part of it is like yeah, they kind of become like this weird clout. Not even clout on the internet. It kind of becomes currency is a better word where like it kind of shows you that you know what you're talking about a little bit
yeah.
Hmm.
because when you're first start off it shows you know where you are in your journey, but then later on it can become like okay, I know what I'm talking about because I know how to dress,
And
you
I
Hmm.
mean,
know.
it's also there's the famous saying, "Talk shit, post fit." So I mean, the fit pick is kind of a prerequisite to criticism because, well, not it's not a prerequisite, but I mean, people are going to take your criticism a lot more seriously if they can actually see what you come up with when you're getting dressed in the morning.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's like you can't say dude high-waisted pants suck and then you look like a 2010s ben Ben Wyatt, like you just can't do that. I mean you can do that.
And people do all the time.
Yeah, people do all the time, but it's not going to be good. I think with fit pics, it's just kind of like I mean, at the end of the day, it becomes kind of an if you know you know kind of a thing. Where
Hmm.
like, especially now with the proliferation of social media and like the fracturing of like different style genres, I'm sure that like no one's really ever alone now in the style. I think fit pics are a great way to share that. Like you could be like, oh, look at me, I'm wearing vintage Ivy, but I live in like LA where no one does that. But I'm posting in a community where like that's more common. I feel like it kind of gives you a little bit of a context there.
Yeah,
However, I wouldn't go so far to say that you should just dress up for the fit pick for the internet points from your Ivy guys. Um,
Hmm.
don't do that. But the other thing about like fit pics is I think it's kind of necessary is like Spencer said earlier about like it kind of shows your outfit in a different light. It kind of shows the proportions. I think Henrik said it's like it's kind of good to like just kind of be comfortable with looking at your body.
uh,
Um, I know it can be kind of tough with like social media and everything, where you start comparing yourself, but like this is again where I keep pushing for fit pics to be very positive, where like you should feel comfortable in your skin enough to take a photo. Like a photo is not a big deal, especially now.
Hmm.
Like I would say maybe back then, the 30s where like again, film is very precious, where like maybe you don't need a photo of yourself and be that gratuitous, but nowadays it's just so commonplace. Not to say that that's not like if that's an indication of how bad society is going. But I think it's perfectly fine to take a photo of yourself and post it, and to kind of be like, oh, I like this. Or alternatively, like as I've used, I know what looks good on me. I know what like my face or what my angles or what hair looks good on me. So like a fit pic can be used for more than just like sharing an outfit. It's kind of good to like just be comfortable in your own skin, and kind of like reflect on it, like the
Yeah.
way you look, the way you pose, because like there was this thing where like this sounds kind of mean. I don't maybe I'll share this with caution here, but I took a photo of a couple of people around campus, and you could really tell who had confidence and who didn't, just based on like how they smile and how they carried themselves. Like there was one person who like was really hunched over, like they were really like they I think it depends also on the photographer. Like if your photographer is like really good at hyping you up, which hopefully for you guys I am, but it sometimes sucks when you're trying to get this out of someone and like they're just not, like they're just so uncomfortable, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And that's okay to do that too, but it's fun to be just confident and be comfortable, um, whenever the situation calls for it, or just whenever, you know. I think we talked in with our conversation with John about that idea of like always being photogenic, but but at the end of the day, photogenic just means to be comfortable. And if you're not comfortable getting your photo taken, there's a chance you probably aren't comfortable just wearing clothes, you know? Like I think there's a little bit of both involved in there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. And then the other part of like FitFix being necessary is, I think it's, for me and maybe for the rest of you guys too, it's almost like proof that you can do it. You know,
Uh-huh.
it's almost, again this is more about like being a documentarian, but it's like we're all around guys who like, oh, I can't wear a beret, and I'm like, why not? And then they're like, oh, because it's weird. I'm like, okay, well, if I show them a picture of like a model wearing it, they would say, oh, well, that's a model. So I'm like, okay, what about me? You know, like,
Yeah.
here's a fit pic of me doing it. You know, and so like
And then they
fit
just
pics,
see it and they say, "Oh, you look bad." And it's the
yeah,
worst case
and
scenario.
and then
You
and then at
confirm
that
their
point,
original idea.
yeah, at that point, yeah,
Yeah.
then you've lost. But I do think it's important there to like kind of humanize the idea of menswear, because it's like a fit pick is so democratic because it's like you, right? Like I know we talk about like famously Diet Work where he doesn't post any pictures of himself. He
Mhm.
might have some photos of like his flat lays of his garments, but we don't see him actually wear it, and people still respect his opinion. So it's not like a fit pick isn't that important. You can get to a Derek Guy level
Yeah, I
of
mean there
gravitas.
there are other ways that you can prove that you know what you're talking about when it comes to clothes, but fit pics are an easy way.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like you can't be like, oh, this song sucks, and then it's like a video of you like not being able to play the piano. It's like, yeah, you could. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of music critics out there who don't know how to play an instrument, but it kind of helps the conversation when you do, because um, I think with fit picks, it becomes about participation in the hobby,
Mm.
and it shows you like, oh, I like this enough not just to criticize it, but to show that I enjoy it and take part in it as well. I think
Hmm.
that's what's kind of cool about fit picks. Um, and at the end of the day, it's like I love it when people have fun with it. You know,
I love it when people have fun.
like how do you guys feel? So here's a question for the room, with Tommy Wiseau.
Are we in the room?
But do you guys like
Hi, Mark.
what do you like from a fit pick? Like, what do you like to
Um,
see?
I mean, I just want it to be fairly. I mean, I want it to be like kind of straightforward. I never get too fancy with my fit pics. I just want it to be basically a straight on angle where you can see all the details. If I'm wearing like a vest or layering piece, I want to have my jacket like unbuttoned or something so you can see that. If I am wearing a bracelet, I want that to be visible, stuff like that, because I want the whole thing. I want everything to be part of it.
Yeah,
Mm.
And I want the fit pick to be like where my outfit looks its like best. And
yeah,
so I'll like, maybe this isn't very sprezzatura of me, but if I'm rolling a sleeve and it looks off or something, I'll like go back and fix it because I want it to be like the best representation of my outfit from that day. Like in my mind, like I want it to be the perfect version of
Right.
what that outfit looks like.
You'll be
yeah.
at
What
like
about you, MJ?
you're like at the character select screen, and
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Spencer
Okay,
for like,
that's a good way. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like documenting after your character says like, this is my character, this
Hmm.
is what he is.
yeah, yeah. Tying that into our, our like, our like cosplay idea or whatever. Um, but yeah, Spencer said pretty much a lot of it. Um, like the best version of that fit there. Uh, Pictures where my face looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
um, I I like I like locations too.
Yeah.
Like being taken pictures taken in cool places, even though that the place obviously is not the focal point. Um, because it's kind of like, oh, this is us at, we went to Universal recently, where
Yeah,
it's
I
like
think.
you might not know that it's like Universal, like if I didn't tell you, um,
Mhm.
but like at least like it looks nice and it's like it's a real place. Um,
Yeah, there's like an idea about context within it. I definitely like that also if it's real. And I know that that's kind of tough because like, everyone goes to places for things now. I think
yeah,
personally I don't like going to some place just for the fit pick.
right.
Um there are definitely times where I've kind of teetered on that where like on the way home I'll stop somewhere to take a fit pick because I'm already out of the house, but like if I'm in the house, I'm not going to leave my house just to take a fit pick and come back home. If that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Um but
Um,
I think everyone has like a kind of a fun way of doing it because there are so many like social media has shown me so many different ways menswear guys take fit pics. Like there are guys who like always have a backdrop, like maybe they're a part-time photographer or they want to really document their fit pics, so they have like a backdrop in like their home office that they can just stand in front of. You got guys like urban composition who lives in SF and I mean, if it's not his wife, which I don't even know if his wife takes all the photos, but like
mm,
there's so many great like random ass pictures that are really almost editorially done. But I'm pretty sure it's a fit pick because he's taking it for himself and he's not like posting it anywhere as like an editorial for like a magazine, even though he works for a magazine. But I think it's kind of cool. And then you got like JKF man taking fit pics in his home studio because he's a photographer.
mm-hmm.
But then you also have people who kind of like have fun with it too, where like you got like Marco who has like done like dances. Well, like he does like he'll just like have the shutter on or something and he'll pose, or he'll take a frame mid dance of his outfit, which really plays into like how he shows off like the drape or the proportions of the fit.
I
And you got
think
guys like Lastrolab who like have kind of silly fit pics, like there's kind of something funny within it. Like he did like a parody of ALD for some fits or something like that. What were you saying, Spencer?
I was gonna say there's another kind of fit pick, which I think menswear guys do, and it's like maybe the group or like candid fit pick, which is I was describing this earlier, where it's
Yeah.
kind of like a sneakier version of a fit pick. Because say you're in front of a cool sign or something, and you're like, "Hey, get a picture of me in front of this sign," and but your ulterior motive is you want a fit pick, or if you're hanging out with someone and you're like, "Oh, let me get a picture."
With
With
you.
yeah, with you, and then it's like, look, you have a fit pick for both people now.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There
Yeah.
are ways to kind of get this. I mean, the best pictures are always like when they're candid and when they're out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's not a gotcha to be like, oh, fit pics are so manufactured because it's not real life. I'm like, yeah, like I'm stopping my day to take this photo. Like that's exactly what's happening. It's just like, back 100 years ago, people didn't take photos of their food, but now they do that. It's not that big of a deal. The
Mm-hmm.
thing is, it just takes. I mean, the issue there is like how much of perfection you put into it, maybe, and that can vary across people. Like I think there's a difference between like having a perfect. There's a difference between like not wanting a bad photo and taking a perfect fit pic. Those are like two
Mm,
different things. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna post an outfit of me where I'm like fucking a fit pic of me where I'm like blinking or like mid yawn. I mean that's kind of funny, but like
yeah.
I might not want to do that if I'm gonna show someone. So hey, I want to sell you on wearing fedoras because I think fedoras are cool and I think you'll like it too. And I show them that they're gonna say berets are stupid and you look dumb in this photo. Like
Yeah.
I at least want the photo to be a good example of what that is.
Hmm.
What do you guys think about like chest shots?
I mean, I used to do them, and it's because again, I didn't always have access to a full length mirror, and it's easy to do. But now looking back, I think it's pretty boring. I don't know. It's a good way of showing off like maybe pattern and texture, but it doesn't like show you the whole outfit. It doesn't show you how the jacket fits really, or the trousers or shoes. There's some people
Yeah.
who do like the dual shots where it's like, oh, here's a picture of my chest and here's me looking down, whatever. And again, that's fine. it like documents like what you're wearing, but it's not like it's different than like a fit pic that is showing off like the proportions and the drape and how everything fits and everything. It's more that's more like here are the items that I'm wearing today, and less like here's my total
Yeah,
outfit.
there's no difference for me between like a chest shot and then like taking a picture of your clothes on a hanger.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's more supplemental than it is like the focal point of
But
like
yeah, like
okay, in terms of like Instagram, right, where you can pick multiple pictures
Yeah.
for a post, like you'd put that after your full body picture to be like, this is
Here you go.
up
Here's a
close, yeah,
yeah. There you go. Yeah, exactly.
rather than like this is it sort of deal.
And I mean, nowadays it's like, no offense to people who might think this is crazy, but like, it's easy to take a full body fit pic now. Like
mhm.
everyone's got like a phone that can do it. Like you don't like.
Or
I can understand
like
like back then, like not being limited, but it's like I think you could do it.
yeah, you get a tripod on Amazon for like 20-30 bucks, something like that, and you're set, man.
I mean, at the very least, take like a selfie. Like
Yeah.
I think for me, it's always been about the people. I mean, we've talked about this a little bit about, not to make this like a bigger conversation here, but like we talked about some of the Asian American thing where like it's important for me to show my face because I want people who look like me to get into this too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I never liked cutting out my face, because it's like, oh, how do like you I've literally gotten this before, and we've said this like oh, I'm Asian, I can't wear white people clothes. I don't see it. And I'm like, well, here's a picture of me, here's a picture of MJ. And you can't do that if it's just a chest shot. I don't think people can be sold on clothing or the idea of getting into clothing when you just have a chest shot. It's like saying, okay, here's the notes. Like, yeah, like you said, it's like you're giving an itemized list. Like, oh, I want you to get into jazz. So look at this sheet music of this piece. Do you
Mm-hmm.
like this? It's like, no, you gotta listen to it, man. Like you gotta get like the whole idea of this, you know? And so it's also good to like, body types. Like I am not a tall dude, I'm not like a buff guy. I'm not super skinny either.
You're a
So like
modest man.
yeah. Oh, yeah, what's up, Brock? But like it's important, like for me, it's not that it was important, but like retroactively it's like, oh yeah, I think it's kind of good that I like put my face in it because it's like to show like what it looks like on me. Even now, even in when we released a double-breasted article, there was one comment who was like, "Oh, I thought that guys under 5'8" can't wear DBs." I'm like,
Huh.
well, like
Dumb rule.
Who
half of
told
those
you that?
pictures are me,
Yeah.
and here's the
Yeah.
proof, or like, oh, people with round faces can't wear round glasses. I'm like, well, here I am too. It's kind of like it's good for me personally to have like a self-documentary thing and for the blog. I know not everyone has that, but I think in the terms of like evangelism for menswear, not that it's overt for a lot of you guys, but like I'm sure you guys have friends who like see like, oh, that's a cool fit, where do I get that? Like I think it helps when you show your face. It shows that you're personal with it. And this is just me, I would hate to have an Instagram where it's just my chest. Like I
Mhm.
think, no offense to some other people out there, but like I really think that that's like really dumb. And
Mm-hmm.
I think Instagram is like, for me, social media is about sharing your life, and my life is not just my chest, if that makes
My
sense.
eyes are up here.
Yeah, my eyes are up here, dude. Um, but yeah, I think yeah, focusing on clothes too much. It kind of depends on what you want, I guess. Where like some people really do want a sterile version of their clothes, and I'm not. I'm a dirty boy, and if
I
my
like getting
face,
down in the mud.
yeah, I love it, and so I like to have a little bit of life to it. Um, But speaking of life, what do you guys think is too much life? Like, being over like editorialized or whatever.
So you mean like it look less like real life? Is that what you
Well,
mean?
because
I
okay, so like if we're looking at a fit pic, right, and it's like you have Spencer's version, which is he's kind of standing straight forward. Maybe you're posing a little bit, Spencer, but like, I feel like
I
you're
do the
pretty.
lean sometimes,
You do
but
the
yeah,
lean. Yeah,
I
there you
feel
go.
I feel silly doing like a big, I don't know, like a grin. Maybe
Okay, here's the thing.
I feel like
Yeah,
I
it's yeah.
I just don't want my like once I don't want my fit pic to look like an explore page. Like, oh, I'm hanging out in front of a cool car, like crossing my legs, and I'm wearing like slim jeans and white sneakers and like a striped tee or something. I don't want
Right,
my
right,
fit
right.
pic to look like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing for me as well. Where I think it's funny because people don't actually smile in their fit pics. I feel like that's why smiling is kind of fun to do, because it goes again, like back historically. I mean, maybe not in the 20s, but like when you had your picture taken, you would smile, right? So it's like I feel like that kind of humanizes it a little bit more, as opposed to like when you're standing there statically, it's either boring or you're trying to make it like, oh, see, I'm not smiling. Like, it feels a little too try hard to me to like not smile. But then there's also the part where I do the model thing where your mouth is half open, that I do all the time, because I'm trying to mimic, to be a little bit of a model for myself. But yeah, I think over editorializing, I mean, it's kind of fun, and it kind of, again, it depends on what your goal is. I feel like urban composition has a lot of like fun, stylized, editorial-esque photos, but they are really good because I feel like it's silly at the same time, and it's kind of like you're kind of pushing yourself to be a model, and to kind of like, oh, what can I do here? And maybe in the case for him, and as well as for me, you're on both sides of the camera where like you set up the shot as well. So it's kind of like, okay, what can I get out of this and show off my outfit? But I know that other people might not be able to do that. And so being more static with it is probably less work, you know? Um, but yeah, I think, but the funny thing is like, it's hard to find like the fine line between like me like slouching or like sitting and like, taking a chair out from my house and taking, putting it in the backyard for like a fun editorial style picture. And then comparing that between me walking out of a coffee shop, buttoning my suit. Like, I feel like there is a line there. I know it's thin, but I think maybe rule of cool or rule of cringe is like the fine line a little bit there.
I mean, how about so like occasionally if I'm walking past, say, a dark window that has a mirror finish.
Oh, there you go.
I'll take a photo, even though my outfit is not the most clear. Like, it's not as clear as it would be if I was doing a tripod fit pic. And I think sometimes the lack of clarity is the cool thing. It's like, because it's like, whoa, what the hell is he wearing?
And then you post your real life and be like, hey, this is what you guys missed.
Yeah.
It's all marketing, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's a good question for us. So that sounds to me like a story fit pic.
Yep.
But then the tripod one goes on main feed fit pic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I would probably
supplemental material, guys.
I mean, but here's the thing. Sometimes you got to disrupt the feed with a more abstract fit pic. You know what I'm saying? So,
so so you break up the sameness, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not gonna lie that we all have done some kind of curation on our feed, even though we don't always care. And we'll get into posting in a second, but like, everyone curates. Everyone wants their thing to look good somehow, right? Like I think it's kind of dumb for guys to be like, oh, I put on my suit and I just walk out, forget about it. Like, dude, if your tie is crooked, you're probably gonna fix it. Like, you don't care that less about it, or you're not that careless about it, But yeah, I do think it's kind of fun to kind of break up the idea with like more abstract ideas. I mean, there are times like for me where like, oh, I'll post like a fun picture of us hanging out, even though you can't see the whole thing. The fit is kind of there, like I think my pictures are kind of fit pics in the sense that you can clearly see my outfit, but I'm like sitting down, you don't see the drape, you don't see my socks or my shoes, but they're still good. They still can kind of work, maybe not in a world building sense, but still in a way to kind of show off the outfit. It's just that I think my issue is that I also blog about my clothes, so I know I said I don't like feel obligated, but like for me, it's like to give the outfit justice, I also need to take like a regular full fit pic because I will reference it later.
Yeah.
I think my big difference is that, my blog posts are often centered around stuff that are in fit pics, and whenever I take a fit pic, it's not just to like post on the Instagram feed. It's used as an example for something else. Like my outfit right now that I'm wearing, which the listeners can't see, but I'm wearing like a white sports shirt, my 501s, white and penny loafers. It's like if I were ever to supplement an article, my old article on sports shirts, oh, I have this fit pic, and it's not something I've done before. It's like a new look. Or if I want to ever write about like my jeans, I got it there. Or the Western belt I'm writing. Like so it's like. I could get away with like the Instagram feed with just posting like an abstract picture, like if me and Isabel take like a what do you call it, like a selfie together. Yeah, you can still see my fit there, but because my hobby is to write about stuff that I wear, I still should take a photo of it. Also, because I love it, and I like also being a model for myself and not being just a selfie machine.
I'm not just a selfie machine.
Yeah. So how about this? I know. Do you guys take a fit pic every day?
I do not.
No.
Because so let me say a couple things really quick. I mean, there are some days where I am just wearing like an untucked button up and jeans, and then on those days, I don't really want to take a fit pic. Not because I don't think I look good, but I'm like, yeah, this is just whatever. But also the way the sun works, I have to take my fit pic before noon. And if I take it after noon, the sun will be directly on my face in my fit pic location.
Dude, I I hate that it's summer now,
Mm,
basically, because I have to wait longer for the sun to diffuse because
yeah.
otherwise it's just straight up just on my face outside.
Um,
It
so
is dumb.
so yeah, days where I'm like I said, I'm not leaving the house and I'm just wearing like an OCBD jeans and like loafers, which I wear like twice a week.
Yeah.
Those days I don't take a fit pic, and then if I'm getting ready a little bit late or if I don't have time before around noon, then I won't be able to take a fit pic in my usual location. And so if I really want to, I'll have to either set it up somewhere else or find a mirror. But yeah,
Spencer, if I come to your house, I can tell you where you can take fit pics in your house,
there you
and I
go.
can
That
tell you,
works.
you know, um, but yeah, I think it's kind of fun to be like to kind of figure this stuff out. Like, do you think it's still a fun challenge? Sometimes, like, kind of fine. I know it took a while to get used to like the static place for your fit
Hmm.
pics, but like, do you think is this intriguing for you to be like, oh, I gotta find a cool place for my fit pic in my house, or is that
Uh,
like not a thing?
no, it was like just I was like, look, I just wanted someplace that would be convenient and easy. And I like the fact that it's like right outside my room too, which is also
Yeah,
super nice because then I could just like step outside and take the photo right before I leave.
yeah.
Um, but it was nice. I mean, it was nice like experimenting a little bit, trying to find the right spot, I guess.
Yeah, because I was gonna say one thing that makes fit pics more fun is if you like photography or if you have an interest in aesthetics in that way. Like
Hmm.
I think if you don't like if you hate the idea of taking a photo and editing it, you're already at a loss. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
hate taking at least good fit pics in the sense of like being editorial or like photography style. I think it's okay. I think it's nothing wrong with just doing the static fit pics. Just like there's nothing wrong with taking a chest shot. But if you are a kind of person like me, maybe not like you guys, but like if you like want the challenge of like, oh, what makes a good photo? How can I be a model for myself?
Hmm.
It's kind of fun to do that challenge. Like I enjoy editing. I enjoy that a lot. I like playing with like the contrast or with the colors or just getting it to be the image that I want in my head, which can come with posing, which can come with camera location, etc. And I am also not surprised that some of the best people who take, for me, the best people who take fit pics are also kind of photographically inclined. I think that like even like Chase, who will sometimes take like a static fit pic, his his fit pics look really good because it's just he's a great photographer. Or JKF man. Or even like Chris, who like only does film photography, has some really good fit pics because of just how in tune he is with like lighting and
Hmm.
how to frame a photo. And I think you know MJ, you've taken some photos. Spencer, you watch movies. I think you guys all have an idea, like visually, of what makes a compelling image.
Yeah,
That can still serve the purpose of taking a fit pic. You know, and I want to stress that this can be learned over time. It is
this
not
is
something that
learned
is
behavior.
inherent. Um, but yeah, I think for me, Spencer, I think I'm similar to you, where like I also don't want it to take too long. I don't want it to be a bad photo. I don't want to be like overblown with light. But I think it's kind of fun to like every day. I It's a fun challenge to feel like, okay, I had to work until 6. I only got a little bit of light. Where do I take it? Do I take it inside? Do I take it outside? Where do I go? It's like a fun challenge.
Hmm.
It also helps that my phone has to connect to my camera, which is easy for the Fitpic, but it means I don't get internet on my phone because it takes the Wi-Fi. So it's like
Mm.
fun to kind of like walk around a little bit for like spend like 15 to 20 minutes like not checking your phone. Like you're just gonna do something that's for fun for yourself. Um, but
Giving yourself a little
speaking,
bit break.
yeah. Well, speaking of for fun, and maybe this can be our closing part here. How do you guys feel about posting your fit pics? Now, I've had this kind of argument before, but like, oh, if you really wanted to be a documentarian, why share it? You know?
Mm.
And it's like, I know we said earlier at the top here about like it's fun to be participatory. Like my Instagram has fit pics and pictures of friends. It's like, it's like both. It clearly shows that I am into this hobby, where like if you talk to like my friend John, who goes into nature a lot, I wouldn't be like, oh, if you really wanted to document this sunset, why don't you keep it for yourself? Like, no, like sometimes you just want to share it. I get that part of it. But let's talk about like the social media aspect, like the likes, that part of it. How do you guys feel about when you post a fit pic? Like what's the goal with posting the fit pic?
Um,
Show off
I,
to people that I'm cool.
Oh, there you go.
yeah,
Okay, there it
yeah. I
is.
mean, I saw people
In
were
the
talking
end,
about. I saw people were talking about likes in the Discord, like having this discussion. And again, not to sound like so like big brain above it all, but that's another thing I just can't really get too stressed out about on Instagram. Like if I
yeah,
post something on my story, I don't usually go and check how many views it has, or when I post something, I don't like look to see how many likes it has. Um, I just kind of, I don't know. I kind of post it because I'm like, I don't
You
know.
like it.
Yeah, I like it. Or
Yeah.
it's like this,
it's
or it's
fun,
like I
man.
know, I know that like I get ideas and inspiration from seeing other people's fit pics and outfits. So I'm like, well, maybe I can inspire someone with this.
There's some of that soft
Yeah,
evangelism.
Yeah.
because I mean, it's also like, I mean, like how I was saying before, it's to kind of show that we do this, or that
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, I do this, so um, you can too, idea. Um,
I like
also,
that.
yeah, I mean, also it's just fun. I mean, in like it doesn't matter. Like, um,
Yeah, it's like, I mean, maybe because we've kind of grown up with social media. Like I think I'm probably like back in the day, like we'd be like, oh shit, this fit pic didn't get more than 50 likes. I'm talking like when we were like teenagers or something like that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Or like posting on Tumblr or whatever. Where like it clearly, because of the way it was, obviously people don't like it. It means it could possibly mean that your fit is bad, which
yeah.
could still apply today, honestly.
And I mean,
But
it's also fine too, because it's like,
But yeah, I think over time, right? I think this is why I'm a kind of a bigger proponent of social media. I know it sounds bad, but like I feel like it helps the good ways for you to get comfortable with maybe not rejection, but kind of being
just
ignored.
or
Like
just putting
putting,
yourself out there, right? It's
yeah, and kind of being okay with it.
like,
Cause
um, you know, not saying that you should always just tank like bad reception or bad comments or whatever, but it's
yeah.
like, just put it out there if you feel like you're wearing something cool, or let's like the picture's cool, and it's like be like okay with it, just as like, yeah, that's me, man.
Hmm.
I feel
Yeah, I
cool.
think I think it's kind of fun. I mean, there's that idea too where like maybe your content shouldn't just be fit pics. I think the best, I mean, again, this is just my purview, but like I think the best social media accounts are always like a mix of like fit pics and stuff, because it shows, oh, I like clothing and I do other stuff too. Like I can't imagine, like, so say for me, if I didn't have a menswear blog, I don't know what my social media would look like. It'd probably be like, or if I didn't have the blog, it'd probably be a fit pic and then what, a screenshot of like my COD zombies like score, which is kind of what it was back in the day, like back old. Like if you look at like my Facebook, um, my Facebook post from like 2000 and like 13, before I got into like heavy menswear. It's like, yeah, picture with my mom, maybe a picture with MJ, a meme, and then like, oh, here's my highest score in zombies of the night. Like I feel like that's what normal people do, but like in that same vein, I am showing you what I'm doing, which is my fit pick, or yeah, my outfit, which I really like and put some semblance of effort into. And it's also a photographic endeavor because I'm also a photographer.
Yeah.
There is that the essence there. um on the subject of likes, I don't really care how many likes I get. I know that I had this conversation with Isabel lately where like there are pictures of other people that get way more than I do because people love young Chomsky, and every time I post a picture of him, it gets so much. Same thing with Chris. Um and so, but like it doesn't really matter to me. Like my at this point of my life, I don't feel the serotonin people get from like likes. Like it doesn't really matter. Like I know that you guys see it. Um Alternatively, obviously I could just send you guys a fit pic, but I feel like that's not the same thing because it's
Hmm.
just, there's just something about social media there. But I think it's fine that some of my fits like just, they're not bricked, but they tank. I get like
Huh.
200 likes or whatever,
Yeah.
and I don't even put hashtags anymore because I hated seeing hashtags, and I
I mean,
stopped
they
doing
look
it like,
tacky. I stopped doing it too.
yeah, it's like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I stopped doing it because I just think it looks better without it, and like that just means the same people see it. Like if people didn't engage with me before, like I know that like out of my reach of like 20,000, only like less than 1,000 people see my fit pics. I can see that. I can see it in my insights. And it's like at that point, it's like, okay, well, I kind of like know those people, you know, whether they're from like Reddit or they're people I know in real life. So it's like, and if they like it, it's fine. Also, if you don't like it, it's okay too. Like I think it's not a big deal if people don't see it. In fact, my Instagram is more for me to dump content that didn't make it to the blog, basically, right? Like again, the fit pics are mainly used as illustrations in the blog, but I will post it in my Instagram because why not? People deserve to see how great I look there too. You know, it's a little bit of like
Exactly.
positive. It's a little bit of like positive narcissism, right? Like
Hmm.
it's like streaming. Like it's not that people like streaming. I think is great because it's like anyone can do it, and it's fine to like just be a random dude who wants to watch me play this video game. You know, who wants to talk for a little bit. You know, I think that that's kind of endearing and kind of fun about life. You know, just like I like doing this, and who else wants to engage with me on this?
Yeah.
You don't have to, but it's fun that it's in the place that you can. You know,
Life is such an endearing thing.
yeah. Um, I don't know why people call it like you know think about it too hard with currency. Um, I guess lastly here, do you guys think that that posting fit pics has given you more confidence in wearing your outfits? Like, how do you feel now? Like, do you get anxiety about posting at all?
I don't think so. I think when I'm taking a fit pic, and maybe I think about when I'm my outfit more. But
Yeah,
I don't.
it's all about the clothes, baby.
Yeah, I don't think I'm like getting more confident because I'm taking fit pics.
Oh, I guess I meant like
I
over time.
think
Like, I meant like historically. Like,
Yeah.
do you think that like posting got you more comfortable wearing your outfits or
Oh, I
so?
guess so. Yeah, because when I saw it's like, oh, people outside of like me like this. So,
yeah.
yeah,
I think
that helped.
it's like it's one of those like positive feedback things or positive like loops
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. It's like I feel more confident now, so I take pictures and I look
It
good in the
spills over, right?
I
The
look
fit pic
good.
spills over idea.
Yeah, because I think the picture looks good, so I'm gonna keep like like coming up with outfits or whatever, and then Ethan's gonna keep taking my picture, and then I'm gonna post those again on Instagram.
Yeah, maybe this is all biased because you guys have had me as a photographer.
Yeah,
Like,
like I was saying earlier, it's the being Ethan's best friend privilege. Um,
yeah. I mean, I think it's important too. Where like you know, I think like in our Discord, right? Like you know, not all the fits posted there are like exactly our cup of tea, exactly like as if we'd wear it. But I think it's good to provide positive reinforcement. This is like one of the good
mhm,
things about like, this is kind of related, but like Psy, the SoCal Asian Interactive, where like there's a selfie channel, and in that channel there's a separate channel where you can reply to people's pictures, you know, to give them compliments, but like you can react to stuff there. And even though I'm sure some people post it because they know they're gonna get internet points for it, but it's also good to like reinforce the idea of like putting yourself out there and to like be like this is good, like you know it's fun to like smile for a photo, you
yeah,
know, to like kind of share a part of your life. For us that's just clothes that we're wearing, but you know it's I think it's still great that people do it. And obviously taking it too far is bad, but I think people have a pretty good gut with like you know what is indulgent. Like I think it would be bad
mhm,
if like I think it'd be bad if like someone did a really high editorial photo just to post in our Discord. I'd be like, okay, you didn't have to do that, you
mhm,
know. But the idea of like you know putting a little bit of effort there is fun, and it does get you comfortable with. Hopefully, for me, two things where like you get comfortable in your own skin of what you look like. I think personally, for me, being more comfortable taking a fit pic got me from being more static. Like my first images were always me being static or me like smiling, and then it
mhm,
got to the hashtag menswear thing, which is a little too far, and then it came back to me kind of being a little more reserved, but like to kind of be comfortable in my own skin where like, it gave me, you know, let me be more confident in general. Like I
yeah,
think, like I said earlier, being comfortable getting your photo taken kind of says a little bit about you. Like, what's the big like? It's not about like, oh, I'm being boastful. It's more like, oh, it's a picture. What's the big deal? Might as well just like I can. It's fine, you know.
Yeah.
yeah. I also like the idea of like doing it so that um like to show not to show other people that you can do it, but to like yourself that like, hey, I did that sort of
Yeah, that's a good
thing.
point too. I like
Um,
that.
because it's like it feels good for yourself, and if other people like it too, then it's like that's good too.
That's kind of like why I wish I could take everyone's photos because I genuinely love taking people's photos. Like I think that obviously a lot in Flickr, my Flickr account is photos of me. Um, but that's because I just don't see my friends super often. Like if I like every time we go out, like I always take a lot of photos of everybody, and I don't even post all of them. Sometimes I do. I use a blog post as an excuse to share them because I think my friends, like you guys, look really great. Like that whole going out essay was like me going like we look great, guys. Like I want to share this and I want to have an excuse here, so I was able to write about it and then share the photos. And that's not even all the photos, like, and they're not all posed. It's just me taking photos of you guys because I think you guys all look great. um and so I wish people would get that feeling where like, oh, I look pretty good today. It's like, it's kind of like, I remember reading this article a while back where like the rise of like girls like feeling themselves and taking selfies and like using the natural light from like a window. I think that that's really great. I think people should feel comfortable in their skin to like be indulgent in that way.
Yeah.
It's just sad
I'm
that
glad.
if yeah
Well, I'm glad we're seeing the rise of that, but I'd really like to see is the rise of Skywalker.
yeah
Rise of the Resistance.
what could you possibly give me?
Everything.
Yeah, lightning. But I think something I try and do when I take other people's fit pics is that I try and like kind of gas them up. Not try. I think I do. I'm like I like to show people like, oh, look how good you look, and I think it's really great. Um, it's this whole thing. Taking fit pics should be a fun and additive experience. And if you get into photography as a result, or if you are into photography, I think it makes it even better. Just like kind of injecting your hobbies and other stuff too. Like I think cinematic dressing is a good example of like us being a little bit of cosplayers or costume designers, but for ourselves a little bit there. Um, but I think, yeah, this is like an easy way to inject some personality into just wearing clothing. Where like taking a fit pic, depending on whether or not you're smiling or so, or how you're posed, is a fun way to be like, okay, look, I can have a little bit more control over this because there is a little bit of this world that you create for yourself in this fit pic, right? Like you are isolated in this. You have control over this. You don't have to worry about other people's perceptions of you. It'll still happen, but there's that idea, where like they say, like certain likes matter more than others, right? Where like this fit pick is for you and for the community that you're a part of. It doesn't matter that a random dude at the checkout line thinks you look weird because, to quote Spencer, there are a couple of Japanese guys who like my outfits, and I think that that's perfectly valid, especially in this day and age where everything is all fractured. It's like, I have had friends who got into like music, like who write music or so, and they're like, before it's weird if like, oh, I write electronic music and no one around me did that, but now you have a community that you can share that with, that can validate you and give you pointers, and you can learn from or just be indulgent about. It's literally the same thing. Like I don't have to feel bad about like about baking cookies if none of my friends bake cookies, because I can share it in a baking subreddit, or whatever.
R
So
slash baked goods.
yeah. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Just don't feel obligated to do it. It should be fun. You don't have to take a fit pic every day, unless your pics are just that fire. That's when you have to do it. Don't feel like you have to get dressed up for the fit pic. That's kind of the bad one. But hopefully it's an additive experience for you guys, and you guys enjoy it as much as we do. So take those fit pics and send them to us on Thursdays.
Thursday nights. Well, not Thursday night.
Thursday
morning.
Thursday morning PST, because if it's nighttime, we'll miss it. Or Spencer, there's another place you can share fit pics, which is really great in a supportive community. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, of course, I know what that is. That's the Discord. You should join our patrons only Discord. To do that, join or go to patreon.com/style and direction. $5 a month gets you Discord access plus a bonus episode every month, even on months where we're on break. So if you're craving that content, that's how you get it.
That's right.
And of course, $10 a month gets you all that, plus a little extra bonus of
that's right.
One of us says your name.
MJ, who are these people?
These people are our Sadcast fanatics: Austin Malott, Shane Curry, Philip Gregard, Jarrett Cullion, and Henrik Wilberg.
And I think they all post fit pics, so you better follow their Instagrams. That's another Insta plug for them for their extra $5.
Yeah, we don't know what their Instagram handles all are, but
if you search their names, I'm sure you'll find it. They're also on Sad Head Thursdays, so check them out.
Yep, that's right. And don't forget to read my blog post about this, which will probably be just really short and about having fun with taking fit pics. We stream at twitch.tv/sounddirection. We play video games. We also do follow-up discussions on our blog posts and podcasts. And yeah, it's a fun time. You can follow me at Ethan M. Wong.
I'm Spencer DSO.
I'm at Aya MJ.
And by the way, MJ, thank you for editing this podcast. You're here to accept
Here I
the
am.
award.
Don't get
the
on
award?
mic.
Yeah. Get off mic now.
I'm on.
Mic off.
Beep beep
Micros-
boop, boop.
Xbox on. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.